performative right now who knows exactly what to say when you're hurting. They check in at the right moments. They say the right things. They look concerned. And something about it has always felt slightly off, but you couldn't name why. This video is going to name it for you. And once you see the psychology behind it, you'll never misread it again.
Psychologists call it empathy performance, a documented behavioral pattern where individuals simulate emotional attunement, not to connect with you, but to gather information, maintain access, and stay positioned in your life for when you become useful again. It looks identical to real care. That's precisely what makes it dangerous. There were 3 specific psychological mechanisms that drive this behavior, and the third one is the one nobody sees coming. But first, why your brain is designed to fall for it every time.
Your brain has a system called the social reward network, a cluster of neural structures that releases dopamine in response to feeling understood, seen, and cared for. It evolved for survival. For tens of thousands of years, belonging to a group meant staying alive. Being cared for meant safety. So when someone performs care convincingly, your nervous system responds as if it's real. It doesn't fact-check. It doesn't audit. It simply feels the warmth and files the person as safe. This is why empathy performance works so well. It doesn't have to be real to feel real. It just has to hit the right signals, the right tone of voice, the right timing, the right words at the right moment. Neuroscientist Dr. Jean Desetti's research on empathy and social cognition found that the brain processes perceived care almost identically to actual care, at least in the initial stages. The difference only becomes visible over time, through patterns, through behavior under pressure, through what happens when you actually need something back.
But here's where it gets deliberately cruel. Because this isn't just about people who are emotionally unavailable. This is about people who are strategically available and strategically absent. The people who pretend to care are not cold people who learn to mimic warmth. Most of them are highly socially intelligent. They read emotions accurately. They know what you need to hear. They just use that intelligence in the direction of themselves, not you. Psychologists studying dark triad personality traits, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy consistently find that high scorers demonstrate above-average ability to identify and respond to emotional need, not because they feel it, because they learn that meeting it creates loyalty, access, and control. Here's what it looks like in real life. They appear during your crisis, but disappear during your growth. They offer support when you're vulnerable, but grow distant when you become strong. They know your wounds by name, and they revisit them just often enough to make sure you still need them. The cruelest part? You feel guilty for doubting them, because they've been so good to you. That guilt is not an accident. It's the architecture of the whole thing. And this is where it goes deeper than most people are ready to look. Because the damage isn't just what they take from you, it's what they replace. When someone performs care consistently enough, over months, sometimes years, they don't just become someone you trust, they become part of how you understand yourself. You start seeing your own experiences through the lens they've handed you. Your pain becomes what they say it is. Your progress becomes what they validate. Your worth becomes something you check against their reaction. Social psychologist Charles Cooley called this the looking glass self, the theory that human identity is partly constructed through how we believe others see us. A person who controls your emotional mirror controls something far more intimate than your time or your loyalty. They control your self-perception. And here's the thing about self-perception. It doesn't feel like something that was given to you. It feels like something you discovered. It feels like you. This is why leaving these relationships is so disorienting. It's not just losing a person. It's losing the version of yourself that was built inside the relationship. The confusion you feel afterward, the self-doubt, the second-guessing, the strange grief for someone who was never fully real. That's not weakness. That's the accurate response to having your psychological foundation quietly removed.
They knew what you needed. They gave you just enough of it to keep you close. They learned your wounds and called that intimacy. They were there for every low and absent for every high, because your lows needed them and your highs didn't. And the whole time, you called it care, because it felt like care, because they designed it to.
Real care doesn't make you smaller over time. Real care doesn't need your vulnerability to justify its presence. Real care shows up when you're winning, just as reliably as when you're falling. The person who only knows you at your lowest does not know you. They know what you need when you're weak, and they decided that was enough to stay close to. Drop a comment. I know the difference now. Subscribe, because next we go into the psychology of how these patterns get built inside you in the first place, and how to stop choosing them before you realize you're doing it. That one is already waiting.